Hey, it's Jamie from runningrestaurants.com. What we have for you today is a slice of a recent webinar I did with Roger Beaudoin from restaurantrockstars.com called How to Put Your Restaurant House in Order. Enjoy. Hey, it's Jamie here from runningrestaurants.com. With restaurants, unexpected expenses are always right around the corner. Broken equipment, extra overhead during slow times, you name it. There are times when you need cash fast, and that's why I want to tell you about Zinch. They're a direct lender that makes financing fast and simple. If your restaurant is doing over $10,000 in monthly revenue and has been in business for over 6 months, Zinch can fund up to $250,000 in less than 2 days. Just fill out a simple online application and see how much cash you can get with Zinch. Right now, my listeners can apply without fees. That's a $250 value. So go to financingthatworks.com today. Again, that's financingthatworks.com. Loans made or arranged pursuant to a California finance lender's law license.
Okay, so this is the only business that we know where every single person that walking in the door is going to spend some money. Okay, unlike a retail business, if you own a jewelry store, a clothing store, you might have lots of customers that come in every day that are just looking, but they don't spend any money. But the restaurant business, everybody's going to buy something. So that is what is called a captive audience. And when you have a captive audience, it's better service to educate, inform, and entertain them so that they are having a wonderful time and they're more free spending when they're having a better time. And if you make these suggestions, you're going to increase sales. And that's really what it's about, right? You got to increase sales in your business, and then you got to maximize profit on everything you sell. And that's not just survival, folks. That's really where you're going to find your success in the new year. All right. Opportunity. Okay. You as a business owner or as a general manager need to approach every single day as opportunity. You need to be an opportunist because opportunity is there for a split second and then it's gone. And your people either capture those opportunities, okay, every single day, every single table, every single time, or they lose them. Okay. I've got a pet peeve. It's called the order taker. We're going to get into that in a moment. I know you know what I'm talking about, but let's just consider every table to be a series of opportunities. So you might have 2 tops, you might have 4 tops, you might have bigger tables. Every guest sitting at every table, regardless of the size of the table, is a series of opportunities from the start of the meal to the end of the meal. And when you have order takers on the floor and you just allow them to take the order and bring the food, they're leaving thousands of dollars a month, if not a week, each on the table in lost sales opportunities. Okay. So you miss an opportunity, it's gone forever. So what are these opportunities? I want you to close your eyes for a minute. I love this analogy. I've done it with Jamie numerous times. If you've never seen it before, close your eyes for a second and imagine an iceberg. And then I'm going to move the slide and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. If everyone has an iceberg floating on the surface of the ocean, here's where I'm going with this. Okay. Look on top of the water. That's the iceberg you just imagined. That is daily sales in any restaurant, USA or around the world that just happened. You got an order taker. They got the pad and pen in hand. They take your order. They bring you the food. And that's sales that just happened. But look below the surface. Very few people realize, this is why we use an iceberg. Very few people, when they thought about that iceberg, realize or even know that the biggest piece of that ice is really hidden and unseen beneath the water. What sank the Titanic on the top of the water is a fraction of the size of the whole iceberg below the surface. So I love this analogy because below the surface represents all the hidden opportunities that staff are missing every single day. If they only suggested this, they're going to increase your check and sales. Okay. Upsells. What's an example of an upsell? Behind the bar, if someone orders at a table a gin and tonic, an upsell would be, would you prefer Bombay Sapphire or Tanqueray 10 for your gin? That's an upsell. You're suddenly charging many dollars more for a premium liquor versus a well liquor. It's more profitable. And when you give people choices like that, would you prefer? That's an example of assuming the sale. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, oh, the Sapphire or oh, the Tanqueray. And if your staff are so trained to do that every table, every time, think about the extra dollars they're making every shift. That's an upsell. What's an add-on? Lots of restaurants have add-ons, like if they have salads, you might add chicken or shrimp or scallops. If they have steaks on the menu, maybe you've got sauteed mushrooms and onions. or, specialty rubs for the steaks. These are all add-ons that if you suggest them, it just suddenly up the price of that salad because now you're putting feta cheese on it or blue cheese on it, or you're adding sauteed mushrooms and onions to a steak. And you have them listed on the menu, but your staff need to be trained. Every time somebody orders a steak, would you prefer sauteed mushrooms and onions? It really makes that New York sirloin come alive, however they suggest it. 9 times out of 10, you plant the seed. If guests are having a really great time, they're going to go, yeah, that sounds good. Bring me that. And that just up that check. Knowing what most profitable items are, we already covered that earlier. Suggesting those things is critically important. Bottles of wine, it's a beautiful thing to sell a bottle of wine because people will still have their favorite cocktail or their favorite beer, but they will possibly order a bottle of wine because it just goes with the meal. It's a conversation starter. It's something to suggest, and it just added 20 or 30 or $50 to the check with one bottle of wine. Desserts, okay, that goes without saying. Everybody, lots of people order dessert at the end of the meal. What about coffee drinks? Lots of people order coffee, but when was the last time you went out to eat in a restaurant and when you ordered coffee, the server was so knowledgeable, they said, would you prefer maybe Jameson's or Kahlua or Frangelico in that coffee? Dollop of whipped cream on top, some chocolate shavings. What a perfect end to the meal. And just that one suggestion alone, depending on the cost of the Jameson's or the Kahlua or the Bailey's or whatever it is, that might have just knocked the price of that coffee up by $8 to $10 or more, right? And that was just one simple suggestion. Maybe there's 3 people at the table, and suddenly if they didn't order dessert, you just captured more money in the coffee drink sale. Okay. Retail merchandise. We're going to talk about brand building coming up. But if you sell retail merchandise, then literally people are paying you to advertise your business around town. That's an opportunity we're going to talk about. Live music and events. Not everybody can do this, but if you've got a bar and if you've got a small space in the corner, people will stay longer and drink and eat food and stay in your place a lot longer. If you got an acoustic musician, you pay him $100 an hour. He's there for 2 or 3 hours. You more than make up for it in alcohol and food sales. So these are all hidden opportunities. And I call that the land of the sales star because these people are so knowledgeable and so well trained. They're making these suggestions and your guests are having a better service experience. So even though they thought they were coming in for the food and drink, this is how you deliver an experience. All right, pet peeve, don't be an order taker. I had a pet peeve when I owned these restaurants, and it was absolutely never ask what I call the yes-no question. Would you like coffee? Does anyone want dessert? Can I bring you anything else? That's a yes-no question. The odds of making the sale when your staff ask yes-no questions are 50-50, and those are terrible odds. Maybe they'll say yes, and maybe they'll say no, and more than likely the answer is no, please bring our check, we're full. Notice, you got to bring it to life and make it special, okay? So how do you increase your odds of making the sale? Get them much better than 50-50. It's all about choices, folks, okay? Let's just assume you got desserts on your menu. Everybody does, right? I'm going to give you 2 dessert choices. There are 3 choices on this slide, okay? You got choice A, which might be the raspberry cream cheesecake, and choice B might be the chocolate peanut butter blast, and choice C is no. Those are 3 possible outcomes to a question when you say, let me tell you about our delicious homemade desserts, okay? So all of these things have an equal likelihood of happening, whether the customer says, yeah, bring me choice A because that raspberry cream dessert sounded really amazing because you brought it to life. Maybe the chocolate peanut butter blast sounded good to them. But suddenly by giving those 2 choices, can you see that your odds of making the sale just doubled from 50-50? Now it's 66.6% that A or B sounded great. You planted the seed and they said, yeah, bring me that, versus 33% no. I proved this in my restaurants for 20 plus years. Choices improve your odds of making the sale. It's that simple.
Thank you again for joining us for this episode of the runningrestaurants.com podcast. Please, if you would, do me a big favor and hit the like button on this show. And please subscribe or favorite us in your podcast platform to get future episodes. We'd also very much appreciate your feedback or review of the show. If you would share that, it'd be great and a big help to us. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.